So I go into this coffee shop and there's a guy sitting in the corner and he's just masturbating furiously and he's got like a Tulip pop toy in one hand and oh shit, the show started. Hey everybody, welcome to the Santa Podcast here on the Monkey Caviar Podcast Network. I'm Tiny, your host. With me as always is my right hand man, Adam. Adam, how are you this evening?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing?
I can't complain. If I did, they'd ship me off to New Orleans. And I don't know that I want to be around Bourbon Street when a certain guy with some guns shows up, because that's gonna be a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah, that does not, highly populated areas does not seem like the place you want the Saint to show up in.
No. That's where we want him to show up.
Well, can we get him at the White House?
The carnage of a Bourbon Street massacre would be glorious.
And he kills indiscriminately, so yeah, there'd be a lot of blood spilled.
I wish it would be on HBO so we could get boobs. It would just be booby shot after booby shot. It's
well, yeah, while they're in New Orleans, of course, because I mean, isn't that what Cassidy
for president?
Isn't that what Cassidy said about New Orleans? Is that it's all tits and music?
Tits and music, 187 different jazz clubs.
Yep.
All right, well, let's get into this episode here. We're going to talk about Damsels, the third episode in this season's AMC's Preacher. And I got to say, it starts, well, it's a horrible start. It's terrible.
It looked like something out of Leave It to Beaver.
I was so like, okay, I get what's going on here, kind of. Like they're telling a little bit of how, what happened to Eugene. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we finally get the backstory of what happened. Because they kind of alluded to what happened last season, but this is the first time we actually get to see what happened between Eugene and Tracy, and it was worse than we thought it was going to be. At least worse than I thought it was going to be.
Oh my God, so much worse. So my favorite line in that is "ew." Ew. Ew. It's like Jimmy Fallon was out there with her. Ew.
Yeah, we find out Eugene is the mayor of Friend Zone.
He's the captain of Friend Zone. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Commodore Friend Zone.
Yeah.
But
and here thought, like last season with what they talked about, you thought maybe Tracy was his girlfriend. This was like a murder-suicide thing that had gone horribly wrong. But it's so much worse than that.
So much worse. I was going to say, and you got to... So I was going to go, my note says, she's vulnerable and our space goes for the Levy.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Now, I did scratch down. But then I was like, no, it's too good. It's too good.
Oh, good Lord.
It was a move. He went in for the kiss that no one should have gone for.
No. I mean, there are those moments where, yeah, that is the right move. This was not that time.
That was not it. Yeah, no.
The girl's suicidal. He just read a list of all the guys she'd had sex with, to stick it to her ex-boyfriend that cheated on her.
But I got a few tips on that. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on.
Apparently she got a few tips on that too.
He talks her out of it with Sound of Music quotes, and then he burns her suicide note. And she's vulnerable, so he goes in and she blows off the top of her head. Ew. Cody D, but only anal.
Yeah. So
she can still get into heaven.
So, okay, so the other guys, and what was it? Just, mouth stuff? I mean,
I don't.
Because she made a point of saying that Cody D was just anal.
Just anal for Cody D. And that is not when you go for the move. When the girl just tells you that she's had anal sex, not the time to make your move, bro.
Nah. No, probably not.
Save it for later. This was a major difference from the comic book, though, because there is no ties whatsoever to Kurt Cobain in this.
No, and we kind of figured that going in with the first season, because you saw the posters in his room. The timeline doesn't fit.
Right. No, I get it. I mean, when the comic book came out, it was the 90s. It was fresh, and it was in everybody's thinking. Now it's 25 years later. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for God's sake. So
Yeah.
you couldn't tie it in the way that it was in the comic, which makes me wonder if R. Space's arc is going to change a lot, because I really want to see what becomes of him in the comic come through on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and I'd like to see that too, but since Jesse's now not necessarily responsible for his father's death, his father didn't kill himself in front of Eugene, right, like he did in the book that sent Eugene on this spiral of revenge. I don't know if we're going to see that. I mean, I'm sure he's going, my guess is that he's going to get out of hell somehow without Jesse's help, and he's going to go after Jesse for revenge for sending him to hell. Yeah.
I think his new friend's going to teach him a little bit about revenge.
Maybe. Yeah. If anything, that's going to be the catalyst that sets Arseface out for revenge against Jesse, is for the fact that Jesse sent him to hell.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get back to Arseface and hell. Let's finish Tracy Lowe's first, because I got a few more. The ew. This is never something you want to hear.
No.
And it was like, you and me. Ew.
Yeah. Yeah, it was brutal.
And then real quick blows her head off. And then
the best part of that was he was trying to stop her from shooting herself, because she was getting back ready to shoot herself again. And he tries to grab the shotgun from her.
He had it done. It was over. She wasn't going to do it.
No, she was going back for the shotgun, and he tried to pull it away from her, and that's when it went off. And that's why it only took off the top of her head.
Okay. All right. I didn't watch that. I guess I didn't see that.
Yeah, from what I saw, it looked like he was trying to pull it away from her, because she had, after he kissed her and all this stuff, she was like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to kill myself again. Eugene's into me. I might as well just end it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Horrible. If a girl would rather die than be with somebody, that's pretty sad,
So then, as soon as Eugene struggles to get the door open and get out the window, and then he tries to blow his own head off, it's misfire. He takes a look down the barrel and click.
Boom. Boom. And then we see that like 4 or 5 more times, a la the Saint of Killers montage at the end of last season.
And then we realize that he's Groundhog Daying Tracy Lowe.
Yeah. It's like what we saw. It's like what we saw at the Saint of Killers, where they kept re-showing the whole little origin story again, faster and faster and faster. They did the same thing. Apparently that is what hell is. It's just reliving that one worst moment over and over and over again.
All right. So I actually wrote down, what moment are you going to relive over? What day are you going to relive over and over again? So now you have some demons that we do not want to deal with on this podcast. So for the sake of that, I have chosen the day we drove from New Mexico to Charlotte as my own personal day in hell.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I could see that.
It was the worst. I mean, there was a stop for White Castle that was much needed, but oh man, that was the worst day ever.
I still remember that guy trying to sell us a 24-pack of Budweiser in the parking lot of the White Castle.
That's what we needed while we're driving across the country.
Yeah.
I love the South, by the way. But anyway, yeah, so I wanted to leave it on a more fun note than that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would live over and over again, is that drive.
Oh, especially that last couple hours. We weren't sure the car was going to make it.
Maybe just the 3 hours we spent in the moving truck, reloading the stuff from the car.
Or what about the time from the guy from the time the guy dropped us off trying to get to that motel to the time we actually got to a hotel?
Yeah.
The crack den.
We're gonna tell the whole story one day. We swear. It's worth it.
It's coming.
There's every day was an adventure, and it was only 3 days long. It was supposed to be a week.
Yeah,
3 days. All right. So back to the show. So on the drive to New Orleans, they are listening to a song that I have come to learn is called "A Walk to the Peaks."
Okay.
The album that they're holding up, the 14 Jazz Things, bullshit album, doesn't even exist.
Not surprised.
For the show. The song, however, is very real.
Okay.
And it's from a French jazz thing from the 60s, so it holds some water.
Fair enough.
So yeah, so they're listening to the song, and Tulip describes it as a cat screwing under an ice cream truck at the airport.
Some people don't like jazz, and I get that. It's not for everybody.
No, but jazz is good. This particular piece of jazz is very freeform, and it does sound like a cat having sex in an ice cream truck. Absolutely correct statement. It's there's an episode of Parks and Rec where she does the radio show, and he says, "We're doing jazz on jazz. This is Miles Davis over somebody else," and it's like it's a mess. And he goes, our viewers love jazz.
I remember that episode.
Yeah. So there's some talk of jazz in Mexico, Mexi-Jazz.
Mexi-Jazz.
Mexi-Jazz. And
because Tulip does not want to go to New Orleans. She does not want to go there.
All right, we're gonna get to Victor eventually, but she doesn't want to go at all.
And she won't tell anybody why she doesn't want to go. She just doesn't want to go to New Orleans.
She's marching around Bourbon Street with her hoodie on, and God, she still looks hot.
Yeah, she does.
So they decide that they're just going to go bar to bar, 187 jazz clubs, and they go into the first one. Might as well start here. Walk up to the bar and say, "Hey, we're looking for God," and they're like,
"All three of you?
all three of you right now?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "All right, come on." So we get this Martin.
You're thinking like it can't be that easy,
right? It's like first stop, and I'm like, "Oh my God, they can't do this." So they do this beautiful Scorsese-esque walk through the bar it just smacked of Goodfellas, and it was really good camera shot. It was also the trailer for last week was that walkthrough.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get to the end of the corridor there, and an old man pulls back a curtain, and we see a woman holding a leash of a man in a Dalmatian suit. Well, I assume a man.
Yeah, I'd assume a man.
Okay, I definitely assume. So the old man offers a tray of dildos and ball gags, and they discuss pricing. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the pricing for the Dalmatian show is out of this world.
It is. I mean, I've never priced hookers or, sex shows, so I don't really have a frame of reference to go on. But from my understanding, the prices that they list in this episode are pretty astronomical.
I have friends who have been to Mexico to see the donkey show. You know these people. You know who I'm talking about.
And I'm sure they didn't pay $1,800 just to watch.
They did not pay $1,800 to watch the donkey show. No, not even for the hookers they got after the donkey show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for $1,800, you could probably buy out all the hookers in Mexico.
That's very true. You could have a really, really good day. But anyways, yeah, $1,800 to watch, $4,000 to play, and $12,000 for doggy. Wow.
I mean, it's at least they give you options.
Well, and then I love that Cassidy starts pulling out cash.
That is so Cassidy right there too. I mean, Cassidy's like, might as well, right?
Yeah, I gotta be here. When else are you gonna see it?
Yeah. When are you get another chance like that?
Right, exactly. It's Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud. It's gonna happen once. It's gonna happen once. So
oh, good Lord.
I miss my donkey.
Yeah.
So Tulip is a bit paranoid after the dog.
So my question is the dog God? Is the dog's name God?
I don't know who the God
or
was.
Maybe the guy's dyslexic and maybe the guy's dyslexic and he thought dog and God.
Okay, well, the agnostic dyslexic doesn't believe there is a dog.
Yes, true.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that was definitely a very interesting way to start their time in New Orleans.
I think if we would have seen the dog in a mirror, like a reverse image, then I would have got it. God, dog, backwards. Aha.
Yeah.
I get it.
That would work.
Straightforward, face to leash kind of thing we were doing.
Yeah.
And this is the tip of the iceberg on how fucked up this show is going to get.
Yeah, I mean, and granted, it's not going to get as fucked up as it could be because, you know, they're constrained by what they can do on cable.
Correct.
But I mean,
Walking Dead gets away with a lot.
True. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that it's going to be tame, but there's some stuff that just won't be able to do.
No, we'll get there. Well,
Yeah.
I hope they do all of it though.
At least as much as they can.
Yeah. So this whole sequence here, after the dog, God, I don't even know what to call it. The God
dog.
The God dog. They kind of deal with Tulip paranoid in the street, and you know, we get it. She's paranoid. Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be back here. She's got a past.
Kind of hammered at home. So Cassidy has arranged for them to stay at Dennis's place, so he bolts with Tulip. And Jesse continues looking for God, cracking some heads along the way. Great. It was a good. I loved the bits with Jesse looking for God and the voiceovers and the you're a preacher and you're looking for God and then the guy he sends the glass down the bar, busted on his head. And then they call him back later and he tries to hit him in the street and just wildly misses.
Yeah. Jesse just sidesteps and the guy face plants.
That was so good. All right. So when Dennis speaks French at the door, did you have subtitles for that? Because I didn't. No,
I didn't. I had no idea what he was saying.
All right. So nobody knows.
All I got is his name's not Dennis, it's Denis.
Denis, fine. If we had a chat room, I would ask if anyone spoke French, but we have no one.
No.
We're just doing this for us. That's okay. Somebody will watch later this week. All right. So on the way back to Denise, Tulip runs into someone from her past, Mrs. Burberry. Yeah, that's it. They just run in. Hey, how you doing? Y'all have a good time? Been a long time.
Yeah, come on over for some dinner.
Right. And Tulip's like, oh, fuck, why did I see her? Because, she's going to talk. Old ladies talk.
Old ladies too. That's what they love to do.
Yeah. So Dennis speaks French at the door. I have no idea what he says. But they are invited in, and Dennis watches the Stooges. Okay.
See, now, if at first I didn't realize it was the Stooges, I thought it might have been Laurel and Hardy, because that would have been a callback to the comic books where Jesse and Cassidy have this whole discussion about Laurel and Hardy being better than like Charlie Chaplin, as far as style over substance, and that would have been a great little That would have been a great little callback to like the people that read the books and the hardcore fans. But honestly, for the most part, at this point, it doesn't really matter if it was Stooges or Chaplin or Laurel and Hardy.
I hope it's more there's more to this guy than just what it is right now. But I mean,
like my first thought was that maybe it was going to be Icarius, the vampire he met in his one-shot story. But the more and more I'm thinking it's probably not.
Yeah. So I don't know what that guy's going to be or if he's important or not, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So the bartender wakes Jesse up and tells him that if he's looking for God, he needs to go to the Chez Monique and talk to the singer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me first start with one of the coolest versions of an Elvis Costello song I've ever heard.
See, I didn't even know what the song was.
She was doing Almost Blue by Elvis Costello.
Okay.
We just saw Elvis Costello like 3 weeks ago, and it was very cool. So
nice. Yeah.
It was very nice to hear, that kind of tune come out. So then the guy at the bar tries to pick her up, and I dig that she's like, "What's the capital of Florida?" He's like, "Tallahassee." She's like, "Meh." And I'm like, I'm like at home playing along, like, no, he's fucking right.
Yeah, I'm like, it is Tallahassee.
It's 100% Tallahassee. So Jesse calls her and says, I do believe, ma'am, y'all, that it was so southern. I believe Tallahassee, and she's like, "Oh, your capital's fucking what a way to a woman's heart."
If I realized that's all it took, man, I'd study more geography.
Right, Montpelier. If I thought Montpelier would get a girl's panties off, I'd learn that shit.
Seriously, I'm gonna learn like the Nations of the World song from the Animaniacs and see if that gets me some play.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
She tells him, he says, I want to look for God. And she says, all right, clean up, meet me outside. And he looks down like, I'm not fucking dirty.
And then she throws a drink right in his face.
Really quick. And he just looks down like, what? And then bam, she throws the drink on him. Which I was like, oh, that's great. That was funny. I really
that was a nice little play. Well played.
So he cleans himself out, and she is being abducted by men in white suits and red ties.
Which can only mean one thing for people that know the book.
I know what it is. Kristen, by the way, says we give away too many spoilers on our show. And I was like, what do you mean spoilers? She goes, you guys were talking about like Tulip getting shot in the face. We're like, yeah, but we don't know that it's going to happen.
Yeah. Seriously, with as much as with as many liberties as they've taken with the story, the stuff that we know from the books, there's a lot of this stuff we're probably not going to see happen.
No, probably. Oh, definitely not. There's some stuff we just can't. It's just impossible. But there are some characters that are very questionable that I want to see if they get away with.
Such as?
He's a distant relative of a holy man. You know who I'm talking about.
Would his favorite saying be Humperdoo?
It would be Humperdoo. Yes. Humperdoo. Let's just call him Humperdoo.
I can go with that.
I don't want to spoil anything in case Humperdoo shows up, but oh my God, if they do Humperdoo, they have gone off the fucking deep end.
Do you think we'll get I'm wondering if we'll, how, if anything, they'll do Allfather. If we're going to get the Allfather.
I would love to see the Allfather as well. Val Kilmer is available. What?
He's looking pretty good these days too.
Oh, is he fit?
He's getting there. He's gunning for a part in Top Gun too, so he's trying to get back in shape.
Iceman.
Mm-hmm. He wants to be Top Gunner.
Top Gun 2. Even more gay.
Yeah.
All right, so Jesse kicks the shit out of all these dudes in a really nice fight scene.
Well, this is the one of the first times we hear him use the word in this episode, and he gets the van to stop.
Yeah, see, and there we go. Not saying the killer's going to show up in New Orleans.
Exactly. He knows the consequences of using the word, but and this kind of goes back a bit to Jesse's core character in the comic book, the cowboy. Jesse's always going to help that damsel in distress, hence the title of the episode. That's who Jesse is at his core. He's that stand-up guy that doesn't want to see a woman in trouble. He's going to do what he can to help them out to solve their problems.
In the case of stopping the van using the word of Genesis, I get it. That's a respectable usage in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not like last couple episodes where we saw him just abusing the power.
When he does it later in the episode with just her to stop her from kissing him, that's shitty because he just marked her for death. I mean,
or so we think.
Everyone he has talked to and used the word with has died in the last 2 episodes. Every single fucking person.
But after finding out who that person was,
oh man, stop.
I know. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. So he asks if she's all right, and he says he ain't with the white shirts. So he takes her back to her place where she packs and has a baby, apparently.
Yeah.
And this is where he uses the word of Genesis in order to prove that he is telling the truth, which is, she does describe the Grail pretty well.
Yeah, she does.
It was I don't remember exactly, and I didn't write it down, but it was a really fine description. It was just like, oh, they're an awful, horrible fucking organization out to rule the world.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what they are. They wanted, this is a group that was their goal was they were protecting the bloodline, and they were going to bring about Armageddon eventually, and place the Messiah on the throne for the world to follow. And I hope again that Humperdoo is part of the Grail. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they do the Grail, because if I remember correctly, in the first season, it was described as the Grail Corporation. They were more of a business than this, super secret organization.
Well, and when we see Hairstar later in this episode, he is in kind of an office building setting. Yeah, complete with a name tag on his desk. Certainly looks like a corporation. We'll see how that goes. So after using the word of Genesis for the second time, my note is, where is the Saint of Killers? Because he's coming.
Maybe he's got a weakness to boobies, and so Bourbon Street might be like his kryptonite.
Well, let's face it, they were in Texas last time he used it. They're now in New Orleans, so maybe he doesn't know exactly where they are. But,
and plus, he's probably walking, so it's going to take him a minute to get to New Orleans from Texas.
Yeah, but he's quick.
True.
He's like one of them Ethiopian Olympic walker dudes. Motor. So much trouble. Oh, yeah, nobody's watching.
Not yet.
All right, so the singer leaves in a cab with the baby, and Jesse sees an Angelville poster.
Yeah, and this is another one of those changes I'm not sure how I feel about just yet. Because now Angelville comes across more like a tourist attraction than a homestead.
It's a fun house.
Yeah. You know, see some magician or some, I forgot what the poster said, but
fabulous Jody and TC, or Jody and what's his name?
Jody and TC.
Jody and TC of Angelville. Oh God, please let Clint Howard, please let Clint Howard show up.
But I mean, the one thing that stood out on the poster was the symbol,
right?
Which was the tattoo that Jesse's dad's killer had.
Yeah, that we saw nicely presented on the arm.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't Jesse have a similar tattoo?
Yeah, I think he's got it on his back or something.
He's got it on his back, yeah. It looks like a turtle most of the time. Like when he just takes his shirt off, and you're like, why does he have a turtle? Oh, it's not a turtle.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see how they're going to portray Angelville in this show. You know, the fact that they've got posters for it means it's not the same place it was in the comic books.
Do you think that the new title sequence, which is all New Orleans based, sets us up for an all New Orleans season?
It's entirely possible. It looks like there's enough going on in New Orleans that they could, I mean, at least the first half of the season, I'd say.
Yeah,
I can see that.
There's all major characters there right now. You got the Grail, obviously. The Saint of Killers is on his way. Jesse, Tulip, Cassidy, Victor, apparently. So,
yeah, I mean, I can see them. I can see them spending 6 or 7 episodes in there, and then the second half, you know, be them getting out of New Orleans onto their next destination.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe the second half's Angelville.
Maybe. That'd be nice. So there's a telephone call in the middle of this that makes it's just pointless. That Tulip just calls to say nothing. And I mean, she obviously wants to say something but doesn't, and that it was tedious. It was like for a very well paced episode.
Yeah, that was the one stumbling block.
I don't know why that scene was necessary.
Yeah,
especially when you follow it up with Eugene walking from his cell in hell. And
seriously, does hell not believe in door locks?
Apparently not. I mean, they have like workers there apparently. So the Beetlejuice thing is half true, I guess.
I mean, apparently hell's got some great technology. If they've got little things hanging from the ceiling that will just replay your worst moments over and over and over again.
I like to call it Groundhog Cam.
Where's the fire and brimstone? I mean, where is, you know, the Lake of Souls and, you know, all this shit? I mean, it's certainly not what I expected when I think of hell.
Yeah, I didn't want to see him, you know, standing in 4 feet of feces, you know, having to eat lasagna or something. It just would have been horrible. So I'm okay with their version of it. It's fine. But yeah, so apparently the cell checker, warden, lady, guard, whoever, tells him to stay put earlier. He doesn't.
Seriously.
He's like, oh, I might as well, you know, try the door, because who fucking does that? I was like, oh my God, that's a logical move. So he tries the door, it's open. All right. So he walks out into the hallway and hello? Hello, Fred.
Who answers the call?
He's got a new buddy. It's the Fuhrer. Yeah.
I tell you, I want this buddy comedy show to happen. I want the adventures of Adolf and the Arse.
Adolf and the arse. They
I
go
mean,
around. Oh, it would be so great. They'd have a little. Can we make it animated?
yeah, I could do that. I'd be okay with that.
That'd make it even better.
You know, like the little Führermobile.
We could totally give them a Führermobile, and we would have to give them like a pet sidekick.
Could we draw like a little mustache on Arseface's top, whatever passes for his top lip?
They could be followed around by Kurt Cobain's ghost.
You get a couple other ghosts to follow him too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh my God.
Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg need to make this happen now.
And Frank can follow him around and just be like, Adolf, you're a dick. Adolf, you're a dick. Too soon. People that aren't listening to this podcast are missing out on solid and frank humor.
Yeah, there's not enough of it these days.
Hard to come up. So I don't particularly remember a lot of Hitler in the comic book.
Yeah, there was I believe zero Hitler in the comic book.
Zero Hitler in the comic book. Cool, because I was like, one, I love Noah Taylor, so I'm very happy to see him as the Fuhrer. I'm a big fan of his, so that's great. So yeah, it's got to be like a total buddy cop film. It'll be the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, because I think we're going to see more of that duo walking around in hell, and I'm curious to see what kind of trouble those two can get into in hell. I almost want Garth Ennis to write this comic book now, because can you imagine Garth Ennis writing this story? It'd be fucking hilarious. I mean, that guy's got a fucked up sense of humor.
And slaying Jews.
Garth Ennis has a fucked up sense of humor, and I love it so much that, you know, I would kill to see him write this kind of story.
We could get the Pro involved somehow.
Ooh, that'd be funny.
Yeah,
and see, and you know, sadly, we can't get, you know, Steve Dillon to illustrate this, but
rest in peace, Steve.
Yeah, that one hurt.
They did this episode for Steve at the end, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
nice."
That was I would have been upset if they didn't do something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
there
are plenty of artists that have worked with Garth that could draw this story.
Yeah. Who did the poems?
Derek Robertson.
Derek Robertson, yeah. Oh well, he did Metropolitan too.
Yep,
he can do anything he wants.
You can either get John McCrae, who did Hitman.
All right, I don't know that one.
It's a good book. You should check it out. Another great Garth Ennis story.
I love Garth Ennis so much. Garth Ennis for president, everyone. Garth Ennis for president of America. It would be a step up. Ooh, maybe I'll get banned on Twitter.
Ooh, #.
Life goals. I hashtag that one day on Twitter that somebody said they got blocked by the Cheeto, and I hashtagged it life goals, and the only like I got on it was Tim Meltrager. That was great. All right, where are we? Back in New Orleans, Jesse's he shouts for the band to play a Walk to the Peak, and so as the song plays, we get to see that the lady singer ditches the baby, takes off the wig. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Featherstone.
It is Featherstone.
Oh, so happy.
And she's a much hotter Featherstone than I would have pictured from the comic books.
Way hotter. Holy cow, she's smoking hot. And
not nearly as, like, she said that very, like, kind of like stern, like, taskmistress kind of attitude in the comic books. This character, I see this character having a, you know, much different, you know, arc. And, you know, I with as much as these characters played into the story, I'd like to see them do a lot more with Featherstone.
Yeah,
and Hoover.
They didn't actually say Hoover was Hoover, but it's got to be Hoover.
But right? Yeah, I mean, it's the black guy who's her partner, you know, right. Follows to reason that it's Hoover.
But Hoover is not in the credits as of now.
No,
but she is.
Yeah, well, she was actually. I think she was in the IMDb page for episode 2, even though she never showed up.
She's been on the main credits the whole season.
Oh, has she?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so good. So I guess we'll get a lot more of Featherstone.
I believe we will get a lot more of Featherstone. And then
I hope they give Hoover some parts, because Hoover had some of my favorite scenes in the comic books.
So good in the comic. He's like it wasn't comic relief, it was like straight man relief. Because everything in the comic is so out of this world, over the top.
I don't know if I'd say straight man relief. He's the sad sack. He's the guy that can't. He's the guy that couldn't fuck up properly. You know.
Can't even do that right.
Yeah, he can't even make a mistake right. I mean, he fucks up fucking up. He takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with them. I think that's going to be fun.
And the fact that the Grail knows who Jesse is. She was there specifically for Jesse, so they knew he was going to be in New Orleans.
And now she knows about Genesis
So I'm curious how the Grail knows this much already.
Grail,
considering we've only seen
Killers, what happens?
Yeah. The what?
I mean, the Grail versus the Saint of Killers, what happens?
Oh, Saint of Killers every time.
Okay, 100%. But
we did see that a couple times in the comic book.
Yeah, he does take out a few strongholds.
And she even makes mention of bringing in the Samson unit, which is their military branch of the Grail.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So let's get into Samson unit. As far we don't know right now where they're going to go with this, but we do know from the comic book that this is the military arm of the Grail, right?
Yeah, the Grail. I mean, the Grail is a massive organization. They've got their leadership. They've got their agents, their field agents like Hoover, Featherstone.
They're the Illuminati.
They're above the Illuminati. They're the Illuminati's Illuminati. The Illuminati
Jay-Z.
talks about these guys in whispers.
Jay-Z whispers about the Grail.
Yeah. I mean, these are the guys. Basically every world leader knows of the Grail, and I believe the Allfather described it as like every night every leader of the free world gives me a call and says thank you and hangs up the phone. I mean, these guys are insanely powerful. And I mean, they're organized well. They've got their military unit. They've got their spy network of sorts. They've got their, field agents. They are a well-developed team, the group that's been around for, thousands of years.
So that's what we're putting our reluctant hero up against, is a massive organization.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of Jesse looking for God, while they build it up as this main story, it's really not. It gets overshadowed. It gets overplayed by the whole Jesse versus everybody else along the way. Right. God is kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but now you have two different factions coming after him. You haven't seen the Killers coming after him on one side, and now you have the Grail coming at him from another side. And eventually we're going to see a third and fourth. Like, it's just so much coming after this guy.
Yeah, everywhere Jesse goes, he tends to find trouble. If they wouldn't have killed off Odin Quincannon in the first season, we could have had some fun stuff with Odin later on in the series.
They could just give it to somebody else.
True. I mean, they could just rewrite that character and give him make him what Odin was in the books.
But I think what we got out of Odin was enough.
I mean, he was a very different character. He was much more, shrewd and calculating guy than he was in the comic books. The comic books, he was just this caricature of a racist.
Ross Perot.
Pretty much.
But you know what? And see, now, being that it was the 90s, we assumed it was Ross Perot. Now it's Jeff Sessions. He's fully Jeff Sessions. He is 100%. Jeff Sessions is cosplaying as Odin Quincannon every day.
So for later on in the season, when we're going to do that series, we got to get Kate McKinnon as Jeff Sessions playing this character.
Perfect.
That would be brilliant.
So now then we get a good look at Hairstar for the first time. A real solid good look at him.
Yeah.
And
they got the look right. I mean,
they got it right. Oh man, he looks good. That is Pip Torrens is Hairstar, and I can't wait to hear him speak.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's got like a good German accent.
It would be great. God, it would be so good. But regardless of how he speaks, they nailed what he looks like. And I can't wait to watch them tear this man apart.
See, yeah, I realized something now that's not going to happen because of the whole Jesse Featherstone incident. Because now they know what Jesse looks like. We're not going to get that storyline where Cassidy pretends to be Jesse to save Tulip from the Grail. So we're not going to have Cassidy pretending to be Jesse, going like, "God damn it," just trying that fake Texas accent, trying to pretend. Because that was awesome. That was a funny story.
Well, hopefully they can find a way to use stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like if I'm sure they can probably still work that in somehow if they really wanted to. But the Grail seems at this point the Grail seems a bit more on the game than they were in the books. Because when the Grail in the comic books first started looking for Jesse, they had a picture from when he was 4 years old. That's all they had. That's all they had to go on. So they had no idea what he looked like. So when Cassidy says, "I'm Jesse," they're like, "Okay, great, let's go."
Sure, simple.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else you want to do with Hairstar? Can you read what was on the files?
I didn't. I could barely read the top one said like pig.
Pig, right? Yeah.
And then the one underneath it was Jesse Custer.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So who's pig?
No idea. No idea. It doesn't ring a bell from any of the comic book stuff.
Okay. Well, yeah, so there's that. Yeah, I don't know where they're where we're headed with that, but oh man, so much fun. I can't wait to get into Hairstar a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see how the Grail is going to play out in this show, being that they're kind of taking a different route with some of the stuff from the books.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of material with the Grail.
Oh yeah, there's so much, and now that they've made it this corporation thing, I think they can mine it any way they want.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might take away things like Masada,
maybe
the whole France story, but in this storyline in this world, I don't know if I see Jesse and them going to France.
I don't think so. I think they're keeping it pretty local.
Yeah.
All right, so back he goes to the jazz club after we see Hairstar. And apparently George R.R. Martin is there to tell Jesse the meaning of the song. He couldn't tell him how fucking Game of Thrones ends, but he's like, "No, man, this song, brother, you got to dig deep."
I'm sure Jesse could have used the word on him, like, "How does it end?"
Like how So he tells him what the song is about, and this is God's favorite jazz tune, and it is about the end of the world.
Yeah.
So read into that what you want. God's favorite tunes about the end of the world could have been REM's "It's the End of the World" and I Feel Fine. And it's much easier to understand than this "A Walk to the Peak." But there you go. I now know that "A Walk to the Peak" is about the end of the world, and it's a jazz thing that I could baffle someone with the trivia one day, be like, "Oh, that's about the end of the world."
Yeah, this whole thing about God, walking the earth looking for jazz, it's a bit odd, and I can't help but wonder, is there more to this than they're giving us? Because,
I would hope so.
Because in the story, we got the reason why God left heaven, but we never got there was never really talked about what he did while he was down here.
I would hope it's more than just like God knocks on Herbie Hancock's door and he's like, "All right, I found jazz. Cool.
Play me a song, Herbie."
Yeah. Play that rocket shit. Yeah. I hope it's more than just, he was out looking for a good tune.
Because I mean, seriously, if he loved jazz that much, he's got access to all these people in heaven and just, put the greatest jazz band together,
Right. You got tons of great jazz musicians. I don't know any, but I mean,
Miles Davis and
Miles Davis, Louis Armstrong. So there's plenty up there. Apparently it's real.
I'm sure God pulled some strings for his favorite jazz musicians to get up in heaven if they, weren't quite deserving of it.
You're in heaven, let's say, and you get to the first night. You get to hear anyone sing with the band. Who is your dead singer?
Oh, good God. Shit. I have to get back to you on that one.
a rough one. It's a tough game.
Yeah, that is a
It's a tough game.
that is a thinker.
There's a Stephen King story about Rock and Roll Heaven, basically.
Huh.
And you get up there, you get to pick the band and put it together. So you can
nice.
You can put Hendrix on guitar and Bonham on drums. And okay, that's pretty solid lineup already,
Yeah.
So like, who do you want to sing? Is it Morrison? Is it Bowie? Is it Janis?
I'm sorry. We got some more options now that some of the great ones, some of the people of our generation have gone.
Right. So there are some incredibly good options. Maybe we'll have to.
Honestly, the one that's in my mind right now, because it's still recent, would probably be Chris Cornell.
Oh, see, great choice. I love Chris Cornell's voice. Yeah, see, that'll be good. It's a good band. We'll have to. I want to do a podcast called The Panel. Did I tell you about that? All right, so the basic gist of this show is that I'm going to send out a survey to like 20 people.
All right.
It's going to be list your 10 favorite fucking films, whatever, gangster movies. All right, so everybody ranks theirs 1 to 10, your top 10 things. Then I get them all back, and we make a consensus top 10. And then you and me, and maybe we bring in 2 more people that are in that panel.
Mm-hmm.
We'll break it down from 10 to 1.
Okay.
Right? So we can discuss. So something like this where, who would you put on bass in Rock and Roll Heaven? So we can send this out and let a bunch of people fill it out. And I'm going to pick a panel. I'm going to send it out to random fucking people that I know that are just, I Twitter with a couple of Big Brother players and Survivor people. And so I'm going to get them into it. And
it kind of reminds me of a show that used to be on I think it was VH1 or something like that, where they'd pick a topic each week and they had a panel 3 or 4 musicians on, and they each got to pick a song for the greatest song of this category. And then they each got a chance to veto somebody's song. And, by the end of the episode, they compiled a list of the top 5 songs in this category.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. But we can do it on anything.
Yeah.
And it can be, rank your X-Men or whatever. It can be it could be anything. So yeah, I kind of dig that idea, but I want to send out a bunch of surveys first and get them back.
Yeah. See what you're working with.
Yeah. I'm going to set it up ahead of time. The whole 10 weeks. I got to get it worked out first, and then
all right.
We'll do it. But yeah, that sounds fun, and that'll be something we can talk about. All right, because good bands in the end of the world. All right, so so the song's about the end of the world, and we covered that. So now Tulip walks into the black and gold fluff and fold. She gets $5 for 100.
Yeah, seriously, that guy made out.
Yeah, right, he's doing good. She puts her quarters in the smoke machine. And she is quickly surrounded by Victor's guys who called their boss and said, "We got her."
Yeah.
Well, we don't know shit about Victor. This comes straight from the imagination of the Rogan and
well, I mean,
those guys. It's
not entirely. This could be, in the beginning of the Angelville story in the comic books, Jesse and Tulip were on their way to square things away with the club owner that Tulip owed money to for the botched hit that she took on.
They were, yeah, okay.
So I don't remember if that guy's name was Victor or not, but this could be, a version of that character, that she's got ties to for some criminal enterprise that didn't work out.
This could go back to the very first time we met Tulip.
Yeah.
The cornfield.
Yeah, when she was looking for that map. But that map ultimately ended up in Hairstar's possession, if I remember correctly.
I believe so, but it's got. maybe it's tied together. There's got to.
Yeah,
be
I wouldn't be surprised to find out that something that that introduction of Tulip, and I'm sure there's more that we don't know, all ties into this character. Because who knows, like I said, in this universe, it's more established that she is pretty much just a hardened criminal. She's not. None of both Jesse and Tulip in this world come from very strong criminal backgrounds. It's very different from the 2 characters in the comic books. They were criminals, but in a way,
reluctantly criminal.
he was a car thief. They boosted cars and
non-violent crime.
exactly.
Occasional bar fight, what have you, but not not murder.
Yeah, they weren't robbing banks. They weren't killing guards.
Right.
So
yeah, it's been different, but I'm okay with the differences so far. And like I said, trying to compare this to the comic at this point, it's
yeah. I mean, you can't.
The comic book is a very small little. Maybe it's going to go this way. It's a light framework now.
I mean, like The Walking Dead. The main beats of the story are following the main storylines of the comic book. Right. It's not following it page to page, issue to issue, but they're keeping true to like the main story themes. In Preacher, they're not quite doing that. As we've seen the first episode, where they've spent the entire season in Anvil, which we never really spent any time in the book except in some flashbacks. Right. New Orleans was a much different story.
Legitimately, the first page of the comic book is the last scene of season 1. Yeah,
pretty much. But as far as we know, too, in the comic book, it was only the church that got blown up in Anvil, not the entire town.
Right.
It was just the church.
Again, no Quincan in there. Sheriff Root's death is very different.
The New Orleans story in the comic book is very different from where they're at now in the story. So I mean, you can't even necessarily look at the comic book as a frame of reference for where the story's going, because there is nothing to go on.
Spoiling anything unless we give away the absolute end of the comic book.
Oh God, I couldn't do that.
Right, I'm not going to do that, but. Yeah, Kristen's wrong. We're not spoiling anything because there's nothing to spoil, because it's like I said, it's a loose framework at this point.
If anything, we're spoiling the comic books for people who haven't read it yet.
Yeah, we're ruining these comics for you if you've never read them. But again, I got to put time on that one. It's 20 years is
exactly. I mean, you could in the 90s you could have Jesse's dad be a Vietnam vet. Nowadays, you couldn't have his dad be a Vietnam vet unless his dad was 70.
Right. Like I said, the time changed a lot of things because it took, this long to get it into a medium other than print. I mean, they've been trying to do a movie for years and just kept falling through. Originally I heard it was at HBO. And
the first talks they were going to do like a movie. They wanted to do like a theatrical movie, right? And I remember hearing James Marsden. God, that would have been bad. I mean, I love James Marsden in Westworld and that, and I liked him in the X-Men movies, but I could not see him as Jesse Custer.
No, I couldn't. It would have been horrible. No. Like I said, Young Val Kilmer. That was I could go for that.
A few years ago, get Timothy Oliphant. I'd have been sold on that one.
Great. Yeah, he would have been great as well. Yeah. Anyway. Oh.
Those are our dreams.
Those are our dreams. Come true. But hey, it came true. We have Preacher on TV.
We do. Who'd have thought we would have ever got this?
Right. Eventually.
Especially after HBO dropped it. And I was thinking, if HBO can't do it, who the fuck can?
We could get a boys series.
Ooh. See, there's a couple comic series I'd love to see done as TV shows.
Here's an interesting one. Okay, go for it. Stormwatch.
100 Bullets.
100 Bullets, whole 100%. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that'd be great.
I know there was talks a few years ago of like Tom Hardy doing a movie, but I didn't like the way that sounded.
No. Yeah.
You can't really do the story in one movie. You'd have to do a handful of movies, and there's so much going on in that storyline that it would make sense to serialize it in a TV series.
I would like to see Fables.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the closest we'll ever get to that is in Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, Fables so much better.
Because ABC actually was going to do a Fable series. There was talks before Once Upon a Time started that they were going to do Fables, but it was going to be on ABC, which made absolutely no sense because ABC is a family-friendly network, and you can't do a show like Fables for a family-friendly audience. So it ultimately became. Yeah, nice. Yeah,
into a movie or a series because that
just as long as it doesn't take them as long as it put the story to come out to do the series.
What else? Oh, how about Danger Girl?
See, that would make I could
super fun movie.
That'd make better movies. You do a couple movies because you can do like a storyline in one movie.
Yeah, I think Danger Girl would be a really fun set of movies.
I'd like to see like Why the Last Man.
Why would be fun series. Not and Why the Last Man is very different from Will Forte's The Last Man on Earth.
Yes.
Very different. Yeah, because Ampersand would be awesome.
Yeah, I would.
That would be really fun.
As long you'd have to get shit, Andy Serkis to do the mocap for Ampersand.
Okay, that'd be great. Oh my god, that's so good. And of course,
because Andy Serkis knows how to play a monkey, man.
All right. Did you watch The Magicians?
No, I've never seen it.
Okay, you should check it out. It's a sci-fi show.
Okay.
And then check this out, and then tell me if you think sci-fi is ready to tackle transmet.
Okay.
Somebody's got to take that. To put Transmetropolitan on the air would be amazing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you'd have to do like I'd want it on like a pay channel. I want it on HBO or Showtime.
Oh, 100%.
You know, with the language. You know, because you get some of the most colorful language you've ever heard in that series.
Spider, yeah.
You know, there's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of just like weird, crazy shit. You know, you need a bit of a budget to tell that story right. And as much as I like sci-fi, they're not known for their big budgets.
All right, who do you cast as Spider?
Well,
that's rough.
He's much too old, but he's expressed interest in playing the role.
Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
100% Patrick Stewart. Yeah. We need like a 35-year-old Patrick Stewart.
Get James McAvoy. He is the young Patrick Stewart nowadays.
Nah, he's not Spider.
I could see him, you know, if he I haven't seen Split.
He's with the bald, no.
Maybe what about Fassbender?
It'd be a very pretty transmit.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe
Tom Hardy.
DJ Qualls.
Yeah.
You know, I want somebody lean, you know, somebody
you
know, kind of gangly.
Somebody tone but not buff.
Like maybe this is rough. I think it was going to be this hard.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
All right, we'll think about that for next week.
Oh, how about Nicholas Hoult?
Oh, Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
He's a bit gangly. You know, especially look after like him in Mad Max. He's already got the shaved head. You just throw the tattoos on him and let him scream at people.
It's a world-class screamer that you need. Again, Oliphant here. He could kind of do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a younger Billy Bob Thornton.
I know he seems too mellow. Billy Bob's always. I mean, even when he's
more malice,
even when he's angry, he just seems very, very laid back.
But you know,
maybe like a younger Woody Harrelson. A younger Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, I like a Mickey Knox kind of Woody Harrelson.
Yeah,
natural born killers vibe.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you got anything else on in Preacher? Because we haven't talked about that in about 5 minutes.
No, I think we pretty much covered it. It'll be interesting to see where. I'm really curious to see where the Arseface and Adolf story's going. You know, are they going to team up to get out of hell together? And if so, can you imagine Adolf getting out of hell?
I want to see them hold hands and skip so bad, so bad.
Skipping through the hallways.
Just la 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 la. Until like two twins are at the end of the hallway and they're like, "Hi, Jack.
You want to play?"
I think that I think Adolf and Ars is if you want a hashtag, that's it. Adolf and Ars. Oh man. Or maybe Anne Frank's ghost. That was the highlight for me. All right. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this week. We'll be back next week on Tuesday night at midnight.
On
No,
our regular day and time.
our regular day and time. No more 4th of July shenanigans. Did you have a good 4th?
I'd say I did pretty much, the American thing, which is sit at home, drink beer, and watch TV.
I saw a quote that said, "You want to know what the fireworks look like? Close your eyes. Now think about the last time you saw fireworks." Yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah, I did that. Went over to the families and ate, watched fireworks, came home, fell asleep. Yeah. Our air conditioner was out yesterday.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was 90. And the dew point was 77 degrees.
Jeez.
Which means it was humid as ball sweat.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, man.
So, yeah, so the air conditioner's out, and we're like, I'm not calling him on the 4th of July. Fuck that.
No, you don't want to pay those those emergency rates.
So I'm like, all right, well, we'll just, go to your mom's earlier. So we left early.
Yes.
And, went to a bar first. And we called the guy today, and he's like, comes out before noon, fixes the thing in 10 minutes, and is like, no charge.
Wow.
Thanks, buddy.
That's nice.
I should give him a plug, but meh. Nobody in this town watches this. All right, so that's going to do it for us. We will see you next Tuesday night. Until then, love many, trust you, and do harm to no one. Subscribe while you're around. Later.